Ever felt like your mouth was locked during a debate, even though your head was bursting with arguments? It's not because you're dumb, you just haven't figured out how to strike without starting a war inside yourself. Back then, every time a discussion started to heat up, I'd go completely silent. Not because I didn't have anything to say, but because my brain spun like a broken ceiling fan, all my thoughts crashing into each other, fighting to get out, and in the end, none of them made it. While others spoke calmly, I was busy arguing with myself. The question wasn't, what should I say? But more like, will this sound wrong? Will they get mad? Will I look stupid? And boom, the moment passed, the topic changed, and I was still stuck in my own head. I used to think maybe I just wasn't meant to speak up. Maybe I was supposed to be a good listener. But the more I stayed quiet, the more suffocating it felt. Because deep down, I knew there was a voice inside me dying to come out. It was just scared, anxious, and unarmed. Ironically, people thought I was calm, patient, or wise in my silence. But the truth? I was silent because I didn't know how to speak without going to war with my own feelings. The worst moment was during a team meeting. I was fully prepped to share my input on a campaign strategy. I had rehearsed in the bathroom, even written notes on my phone, but when I finally got the chance to speak, my voice dried up. I gave a stiff smile and said, "No additions from me," when really, I had a lot to say. But it all got held hostage by fear. It felt like sitting in a theater watching an amazing movie, but being the only one who wasn't allowed to talk about it. And worse, you made the movie. You had the insight, but you were the one stopping yourself from showing up on screen. I started to wonder, do all these people who speak so confidently just naturally have superpowers? Do they never get nervous, or am I just being way too hard on myself? Things didn't start to change because I read a self-help book or took a public speaking class that costs a kidney. It happened over something stupid and simple, a moment and one dumb sentence from a friend that somehow stuck. I was venting again, as usual, telling him about another failed meeting, about how I held myself back. He just smirked and said, "You're not bad at speaking. You're just busy planning a nuclear strike when your opponent's only playing chess." And weirdly, that line hit me because it was true. I was so afraid of messing up that I forgot conversations aren't battles. I didn't mean to defeat anyone. I just needed to show up, speak, and stay calm. An attack doesn't have to be loud. In fact, the most powerful words are often the quietest ones, delivered with a small smile and a steady voice. Like someone who already knows they've won, so there's no need to show off. From then on, I changed my approach. I stopped obsessing over what to say to sound smart, and focused more on how to say things calmly and honestly. I realized confidence isn't about having the flashiest answers. It's about not being afraid to sound average. Because sometimes, what makes people really listen to you isn't how loud you are, it's how clear you are. And you can't be clear if you're constantly at war with your own mind. Eventually, I understood it's not about how sharp your words are. It's about how calmly you can deliver them. We grew up in a world that taught us speaking is about winning or losing, but it's actually about connection. And funny enough, the calmer you are, the louder your voice echoes. Because people don't just hear your words, they feel your energy behind them. I used to think silence was weakness, but now I know sometimes silence is part of the strategy. Not because you're scared, but because you're choosing the right time to strike. With a clear head and an unshaken heart, speaking isn't a verbal war. But once you're calm, even a simple sentence can cut deeper than 5 paragraphs of shouting. And now, when I speak, it's not to prove I'm right. It's because I'm no longer afraid of being wrong.